It's Wednesday. You know what that means. It's time for AEW Dynamite Live on TNT. We find ourselves just 2 weeks out from AEW's biggest show of the year, Double or Nothing, and things are getting pretty crazy around here, Excalibur. They certainly are, JR. The end of last week's Dynamite was explosive. MJF seemingly joined forces with the three. Is it official? Tensions continue to rise between AEW World Champion Jon Moxley and challenger Kenny Omega. Throw Death Triangle into the middle of all that. Wow. So tonight's main event will see Omega and the Good Brothers face Death Triangle, and the three want to finish what Private Party started, and that's up next. Darby Allin is set to face Matt Hardy for a chance to compete in the men's casino ladder match at Double or Nothing. Both have history. Should be interested to see who comes out on top. We're just getting word also that Dustin Rhodes has requested a no disqualification match against TNT champion Miro, and it's been granted for here tonight. Wow. So we're live from the Emblem Centre in front of 8,967 fans. Here is our card for tonight. Then Thunder Rosa and Mickie James set to battle it out for a place in the women's casino ladder match. Darby Allin and Matt Hardy also for the men's casino ladder match qualifier. SCU will face Santana and Ortiz, and just announced Miro against Dustin Rhodes in a no disqualification match. And the main event, it's a big one, it's the Elite against Death Triangle, and up next the three against Private Party. They finally get them hands on each other, and in a decent match it's Hangman Page and FTR that defeat the Private Party in 10 minutes 55. Hangman Page on such a roll at the moment. We need to keep in mind that Page did defeat ACH a few weeks ago in a men's casino ladder match qualifier, but before he can concentrate on that, he had to focus on this match, finally getting their hands on Private Party. They finally showed up, and it's Page that pins Isaiah Cassidy. Will Hobbs was the weak link. I'm not too fussed about that. We got 60 for this match. The match getting the crowd buzzing. Well, after the match, Dax and Cash hold their World Tag Team Championships up and direct them at the Private Party, trying to make a point as they retreat the ramp with Page. MJF comes out all smiles, tapping Page on the shoulders. All four have their backs turned on the entranceway as they continue to make their point to Private Party. Then Matt and Nick, the Young Bucks, run out. When Dax and Cash turn around, they get hit with a double super kick. Matt and Nick stare at Page. MJF is shouting his mouth off at them. Matt and Nick then shrug and retreat. So it's all beginning to break down now between the World Tag Team Champions and the Young Bucks. The number one contenders. They will face FTR, the Young Bucks, at Double or Nothing for those Tag Team Championships. Who is going to come out on top? Then up next, Cody Rhodes bursts into the locker room where Dustin Rhodes is sat taping his wrists ahead of his match against Miro tonight. Brandy Rhodes is there but on the phone. Cody is annoyed with Dustin for not telling him he requested a no DQ match with Miro, annoyed that he had to find out through JR, Excalibur and Schiavone. Dustin stands up, looks Cody in the eyes and tells him that Miro made it personal to him also, not just Cody. Arn has been a family friend for decades. He can't just sit by and let Miro get away with it, walking over everything that they've done, everything that they've accomplished. And Cody argues that it's a dangerous situation for Dustin. Dustin doesn't care whether it's dangerous or not, and he would be willing to die trying to protect his family and friends. Dustin leaves. Cody turns to Brandy, who just shrugs her shoulders and continues her call. So it's all getting a bit emotional here at the moment, all very personal with the Rhodes and Miro, the TNT champion. We get a 73 for that segment. Cody not happy about this at all because it's supposed to be Cody against Miro, but now Dustin's thrown himself in harm's way. In about that, I had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. It's Mickie James that punches her ticket to Double or Nothing for the women's casino ladder match. She now joins Ali, Tessa Blanchard, Chris Statlander and Riho. There's one more spot to be filled, and that will be here next week on Dynamite. Don't miss it. Chris Jericho is seen walking backstage as though he has just arrived at the arena when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Sammy Guevara attacks. Just like Jericho did to him last week, Sammy is like a man possessed, throwing wild fists as he takes Jericho to the floor. Security have to get involved. Sammy manages to break away and it begins the assault again. It's breaking down. It's chaos. More security arrive on the scene and pull Sammy away, with Jericho screaming, "Sammy! I'll get you, you son of a bitch." Very similar to what he did with Tyson in real life, leading up to Double or Nothing, wasn't it? Just playing into that character of Chris Jericho, and it's still getting very heated between Jericho and Sammy Guevara, former members of the Inner Circle. Selena, Santana and Ortiz make their way to the ring ahead of their match against SCU. As they wait in the ring, the camera turns to Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, who are sat front row, dressed smartly, doing maybe a bit of reconnaissance for the new Exalted One. We'll have to wait and see how that one turns out. But Evil Uno, Stu Grayson showing their faces on Dynamite, actually in the arena, in months. In about that How Good Heat and Decent Wrestling, Santana and Ortiz defeat SCU in 10 minutes 09. Santana pinning Frankie Kazarian with a fast roll-up. This one just came out of nowhere. Santana acting and thinking quickly on his feet, as the streets tend to almost train you to do. Selena was supposed to be at ringside, but it wasn't on there. To completely miss that off. But anyway, Santana and Ortiz have left after picking up the win, but in the ring, Kazarian, he's arguing with the referee that his shoulder was up in that fast roll-up. Meanwhile, Scorpio Sky once again has his hands on his hips. He looks to the sky and begins to shake his head. Sky finally decides to pull Kazarian away and to calm him down, and both leave discussing this loss. Another loss for members of SCU. It really isn't looking good for them at the moment. Marvez is backstage ready to interview Paige, Dax and Cash, but MJF takes the lead. Marvez, what you have here is not the three anymore. We are the pinnacle. The pinnacle of not only AEW but the world of pro wrestling. You have the AEW World Tag Team Champions Dax and Cash, a team that will continue to dominate the tag team scene for many years to come. You have Hangman Page. He's a lot like me, you know, a future world champion and someone that's been victim to the elite's elitism. AEW is quickly becoming a toxic place, a place where numbers mean safety. As we've seen with the likes of Omega, Matt and Nick, and we've seen with the Inner Circle and Death Triangle, a team that's been a constant thorn in my side ever since the World Title Eliminator Tournament. But not anymore, not with my boys standing with me. We are the pinnacle, and we are better than you. MJF walks off, followed by Paige, Dax, Cash, Tully, who seem quiet. I should say quiet, not quite. They seem quite quiet after MJF answering all questions, answering Alex Marvez, being the mouthpiece, it seems. How do Paige, Dax and Cash take that? Well, I'm not sure at the moment. You're just going to have to find out. Brandy Rhodes makes her way out towards the commentary desk with the AEW Women's Champion Toni Storm ahead of this Fatal 4-Way women's match. Brandy picks up her headset and begins to explain that this next match is a small preview of what to expect ahead of the Women's Casino Ladder match at Double or Nothing. All competitors have already qualified for the ladder match, and Toni Storm is out here to do some scouting. Simple as that. We've seen Toni Storm alongside the COO of the women's division quite a lot over the last couple of weeks. In about that, I had decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Tessa Blanchard defeats Chris Statlander, Ali and Riho in 5 minutes 32. What a quick fatal 4-way match this ended up being. Tessa Blanchard pinning Ali with a fast roll-up. We've already seen a fast roll-up already this evening, and we've got another. But look at that in-ring performance from Tessa Blanchard, a 58 there. As planned, the match bringing the fans down just a little bit. After the match, Tessa makes her way up the ramp after picking up the win. She's undefeated so far in AEW since signing. She stops before heading down the tunnel, looks at Toni Storm, smirks, then walks off. Let's remember the interaction those two have had as of late. Britt Baker walks out and gets into the face of Storm. Both are yelling at one another after what happened last week. Then Britt shoves Storm, who falls back into Brandy Rhodes, who takes a tumble. Storm checks on Brandy. She doesn't notice Britt grabbing a steel chair. As Storm turns around, Britt Baker slams a chair across the head of the women's champion. She is out like a light. Brandy is shocked. Everyone is shocked. The world of wrestling is shocked. A woman taking a chair shot to the head. Britt threatens Brandy with a chair, demands a rematch, and Brandy gulps, nods slowly. Britt laughs, then leaves. Oh my god, really? The COO caving like that. She thought her life was threatened, so she's just handed Britt Baker her title match. Up next, we get a Double or Nothing promo playing that will feature Jon Moxley defending his AEW World title against Kenny Omega. Cody against Miro for the TNT Championship, and Chris Jericho will face Sammy Guevara in an ambulance match. Not to be missed. It's going to be the biggest show yet. Dustin Rhodes makes his entrance. He's flanked by Cody Rhodes. Miro already in the ring. He's stock still in the middle with his TNT Championship draped over his shoulder. He invites Dustin in with a grin. Cody turns to Dustin and shares a few encouraging words with him. We get a 72 for this segment. Wow, you've really got to be feeling it now for Dustin Rhodes. And it's a bloodbath. In a bout that had great heat, decent wrestling, Miro defeats Dustin Rhodes in 9 minutes 8, when Miro beat up Dustin so badly that the referee had to stop the match. It is a bloodbath. Miro using those bare knuckles to bust Dustin open. It's very similar to Lance Archer's match against Dustin Rhodes last year in real life, when the pandemic had really took hold of everything. And he just absolutely annihilated Dustin Rhodes. And that's exactly what's happened here. Rhodes is a bloody mess. He's shaking uncontrollably in the middle of the ring. Miro stands over him, full of rage. Medics rush out with a stretcher along with referees and security. Cody Rhodes is there at Dustin's side on his knees, concerned. Miro sneers and holds his TNT tarp towards Cody, who watches on. Security managed to move Miro on. Cody seems to be in a state of shock at seeing his brother in this condition, asking the medics if he's going to be okay. The medics put a neck brace on Dustin and support him on the stretcher. Fans clap for Dustin as he is wheeled out with Cody at his side. So that's not one but two family, friends, very close to Cody that he's kind of lost at the hands of this monster that is Miro. He's looking, well, a monster. He's looking untouchable. How is it going to turn out at Double or Nothing? A dark promo is played of Darby Allin. He seems to be in some sort of rough-looking car garage, shop toilet. It's nasty. It's dirty. He stands by the sink holding a permanent marker. The video keeps cutting, speeding up as he begins to graffiti all over the walls, writing things like, "I don't care, end of the world, it will be me." The wall is covered with other various scribblings such as "Rest in Peace in a Circle," which we saw ages ago in the series, is there. And that's up there alongside "Death to Matt Hardy." In big, bold letters, he then writes, "Saint Darby." Shades of what Matt Hardy said to him last week here on Dynamite. Then pulls out a razor blade. He cuts himself down the palm of his hand, spreads the blood and slaps it against the wall. He walks out into the garage shop, knocking things off shelves, opening a bag of chips, throwing them everywhere. It's bizarre. Seems like Darby has snapped. He grabs a mop and bucket, then throws it through the shop window, glass everywhere. He then leaves. If you've seen the Green Day Jesus of Siberia video, music video that is, you'll know exactly what this was based around, this segment, and I felt it just fit Darby's character perfectly as we head into that next match. Darby Allin's match against Matt Hardy, the men's casino ladder match qualifier, and it is Darby Allin that defeats Matt Hardy in 10 minutes 26 after a coffin drop. It was a bout that had good heat, decent wrestling. Darby Allin with a 66. We know he's better than that. He's got towards an 80 with his in-ring performance. Maybe he was just holding back in this match. Doesn't really say that. Not sure why, but I know those two would put on a great match anyway. After winning the match, Darby Allin looks down at Matt Hardy on the canvas. Jeff Hardy slides in and stands staring at Darby. Charismatic Enigma and Strange Enigma. Darby just barges past and leaves. And Jeff helps Matt to his feet. So we've had Darby Allin against Matt Hardy before. I think it was episode 2 in the series. Or maybe it was episode 3. Somewhere around there when Matt Hardy was Damascus. Up next, then we have the huge main event between the Elite. That's Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers against Death Triangle. Looking ahead to next week, though, as we continue on down this fast lane to Double or Nothing, we have some hard-hitting matches to look forward to, such as the Men's Casino Ladder Match preview. Speaking of which, Orange Cassidy will also look to punch his ticket to Double or Nothing in the qualifiers, which continue for both men and women. It seems Dr. Britt Baker has her rematch against Toni Storm for the Women's Championship, but after what's happened here tonight, will Toni Storm be able to make it? What's next between Jericho and Guevara? Well, Jericho will offer a peace treaty to Guevara next week, which will expire at Double or Nothing, and so much more, folks. Don't miss it. And we get a 67 for this segment from JR, or at least it doesn't say that his gimmick is starting to get stale this time. Kenny Omega makes his way to the ring along with Doc and Carl Anderson. Don Callis is there also in support of Kenny Omega. We get a 70 for that. Very simple, just their entrance as they make their way to the ring. And yes, it is a superb match as expected. The Elite defeating Death Triangle. And once again, it's Carl Anderson that gets the win. He pins Pac with a surprise cradle. Now, it should say, I think I took it out before heading into the show. MJF was supposed to get involved using his Dynamite diamond ring and smacking it against the head of Pac, which allowed Carl Anderson to get the pin, the surprise cradle. But anyway, there we have it. So the Elite going over Death Triangle. Pac ain't going to be too happy about this, especially getting pinned by Carl Anderson. Everyone really performing well. Carl Anderson, though, with the worst in-ring performance in that match. The Elite stand tall in the ring after the match. There is a disturbance up on the Titantron, though, which draws Kenny Omega's attention. It's outside the arena. It's their limo that they arrived in. There's a Ford F-150 at the other end of the parking lot. Its lights switch on, it revs up, tyres begin to squeal, and it lurches forward like a bat out of hell and screams towards the limo, smashing into the side, metal crumpling, damage done. Jon Moxley steps out with a lead pipe. Shades of that time he invaded Jericho's home in this series, and begins to make his way inside the arena. Where have we seen this before? Kenny Omega seems desperate. After a moment or two, Mox's music hits and he walks out slowly from the entranceway. He races to the ring. Omega and Callis bail, but Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson stay. Mox uses the lead pipe to take out Gallows, and then he turns on Anderson and hits him with a paradigm shift. Mox kicks the ropes to a huge pop. Kenny Omega is leaving with Callis, looking kind of worried as Dynamite goes off the air. It's a great rating for this final segment. Really enjoyed putting this one together, having Jon Moxley return to the arena in his F-150, smashing up the limo. They're making his way to the ring through the backstage area with a lead pipe in hand, and we get a 74. That's much better than last week. We've improved on that. Do think next week's will be even better, and obviously the go home show, I'm working towards that being absolutely explosive. But this week we've done really well, kept things pretty simple. I like to think we've had those matches, few promos in between, and some stories branching to maybe after Double or Nothing, and just go from there, really. Let's go and see how we've done with ratings this week. So we got a 74 show rating. We drew a 1.99 TV rating, which is just down to last week. and so is our viewership as well. We drew a total of 1.49 million viewers over on the All Elite Network, 286, so that hasn't took too much of a dive, nor has the TV rating with TNT. Wonder how NXT have done then this week. This will be interesting. Oh, wow. They've done really well this week. 79. Wow, that's 2 weeks on the run now that they've beaten us on show rating and TV rating. Look at that, 2.21 TV rating. A total of 1.7 million viewers tuning in. Wow, we've got to sort that out, especially with the next 2 weeks are going to be crucial. They're going to be pivotal as we head into the biggest show of the year, Double or Nothing. That's it for Dynamite. Hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you all soon for the next one.